I'm over at my machine and I have my buttonhole placements all marked. I have the 2 pieces of masking tape which mark the top and the bottom, and then I have these 2 lines that help me know how to line up everything when I sew my buttonhole. On the back I have my interfacing attached, so I'm ready to go there. I'm going to go back to my pattern guide sheet to just make sure I'm following the directions as it lists. If we look at the pattern guide sheet, it told us to transfer the buttonhole placements to the front, which we did, and we fused the interfacing to the back. And now the next step it says is to make the buttonhole. So we're going to go ahead and make those, which is why we came over to our machine. I'm going to use this buttonhole foot. So if you need a buttonhole foot, go and get one of those. And I need to replace my presser foot over here. To replace the presser foot, I'm going to lift up this metal tab right here, and it just swings back. And then my whole foot is just going to fall off. So I'm going to pull that off. After pulling it off, you can kind of see that there's this cone back here. And I'll take my buttonhole foot, and there's a hole on it, and I'm going to put the hole on the cone. I might need to kind of come in at an angle. Once I put it on the cone, then I can use that same silver lever that's back here, which you can't super see, but it's right here. It swings back and forth. I'm going to swing that forward and it'll keep my foot in place. Before I put my fabric in, I'm just going to take my threads and pull them back behind so that they're out of my way. And then I'm going to pull my fabric up through the front so that my threads continue to stay behind. If I pull it from behind, then my threads are just going to be pulled back under and not going to make a big nest of threads. So I'm just going to pull my fabric from the front and push it back. Then I'll find my black little mark here. So yours might be a different color, but I'll find my mark. And I'm going to lower my needle using my hand wheel, pulling my thumb towards me like this. I'm going to lower it to where I'm at the edge of my masking tape and right in line with that black mark right there. So see that black mark, and I'm going to lower my needle in there. So with my needle in place, it's lined up with that black mark and my masking tape. Now I'm going to line up this black mark with the edges of my frame, so it should be centered in the middle of that and parallel to the frame edges. So once that's centered, I'm ready to go. And I'm just going to sew down to my masking tape. I can adjust this red marker. This isn't necessary, but if that helps you, you can. I'm going to look from above, just like we did with the sample, and I'm going to adjust this so that when it's in line with my needle, I know that that is when I'm going to stop. And now I'm ready to sew. I'll pull this thread back. As I sew, I'm just going to use my foot pedal and nothing else. So I'm just going to let my machine do everything for me. So I'll just go down. It's going to do this left side of my buttonhole again. And it looks like my machine's having a little bit of a hard time getting started, so I'm going to push it just a little bit, but not a lot. Just guiding it to make sure that it is moving. Because if it's just staying still, it's just going to make a big, huge knot. It's moving slowly though, and that's how it should be. I'm just going to make sure that it is moving. And now I'm getting close to where I want to stop. So I'm going to go till I get to the masking tape. I'm just going to watch, keep an eye. I'm going to check and see. Not quite there yet, but close. So I'll keep going. Almost to my masking tape. All right, now I've reached my masking tape. If you sew onto your masking tape just a little bit, that is totally fine. Masking tape's not going to hurt your machine. It might make your needle a little sticky, so you don't really want to sew through it, but if you do, that's okay. Now that I've gotten to my masking tape, I'm going to hit the reverse button. I haven't done that yet. I'll do it one time, and then it's going to change everything on my machine. It's going to let it know that's how long I want this buttonhole to be, and it will remember it for me. All right, so I'm going to hit this reverse button one time, and then I'm going to hit my foot pedal, and my machine is going to change what's showing here, right here. So it's going to tell me it's moving on to the next step, and it's moving up the side. And then when it gets to the top, it's going to switch and do the top. So here now, it should switch and do my top pretty soon. Okay, now it's doing my top. And it's going to go down and do the right side. I'm just going to watch Sometimes it gets a little bit stuck because this pocket here is really thick, and so it's having a hard time moving it. So I'm just going to watch this top part, make sure that it is moving along. It should be okay. I could be pretty hands-free, but if it's just getting stuck somewhere, I'll just give it a little gentle nudge. Not a lot, just gentle, gentle nudge. And it's moving on its own, slowly but surely. I'm pretty close here. It's going to start finishing it up for me, so you can see that it's moving on to the bottom. Doing 3 slow stitches and stopping. And right now I'm still holding my foot pedal down, but it has stopped for me. So once I let off that, I can lift up my presser foot. This guy will slide forward, and I can cut out or cut my threads. So now I have a really nice and neat buttonhole right here. And I'm not going to mess with my settings because remember, if I just leave them exactly as they are, it's going to sew an identical one over on this side. So I'm going to leave my settings just as they are, and then I'll sew this other one over here. We aren't going to cut these open yet. You can choose to cut them open up later because the drawstring is optional. So when we put the drawstring through, you can decide if you want the drawstring or not. So when we get there, you can cut it open if you would like, or you can leave it closed.